All right, guys, this doesn't happen often. We're on Titan Muscle and Mind. I usually do one podcast a week. Clayton messaged me early in the morning from the HP Labs, the athletes manager for the HP Labs, and he said, I'm coming at 8:30. I'm like, Clayton's always an hour late, you know, and I'm normally not here. And in life, like Max is, ever since I've met Max, I've just loved Max. I've been a big fan of Max. And there's just this, and Isa talks about this visceral connection. Honestly, that's how I feel with you. And then when every so often, you know, the stars align, and it's this universal law when you get to meet someone that you've never met in your life, and you met him 2 hours ago, and that moment you meet him, you feel like you've known him all your life, and you go, you're on this journey, and your purpose is now has more clarity. And then Darcy walks in to Titan Fitness. Darcy Cunningham, guys. So we were talking off camera, and the connection was, it was completely different. It was just completely different. And you know, I've been in a kind of place for, you know, a couple of 2.5 weeks, and then we talked, and you're in that place. Mm-hmm. Darcy, for those that don't know you, tell us a little bit about who you are, and Max, then we'll go to you.
I'm Jacy Cunningham. You know,
I'm bad
listen, it's okay. Man. It happens.
Fuck, man. You know what? That's one thing I've got to move. Jacy Cunningham.
It's all right.
Don't forget the name, because if I forget it again,
trainer, motivational speaker, human first. You know, child of God. You know, and energy. You know, I think that's where I have found my gift, is providing beautiful energy. Now it goes up and it goes down, but it's always there. And I feel like that's why I love being me. I think that God gave me a certain gift to project energy to people who may need it. And sometimes may not need it, but may need a reminder of they have it too. And so that's all I am. I'm just a reminder to all to live life in the most positive way. And
Max, you met him 2 hours ago, right? 2-3 hours ago.
Right, it was like, what, 7 o'clock?
Yeah. What was the effect for you? Like I told you what the effect for me with Jacy was. What was the effect for you?
When I met him, well, I felt like he met me. Like, I felt like I got picked up at the airport, even though I should have been picking him up and meeting up. He was waiting for me patiently, excited to see me, so that his energy like spiked my energy levels up. So he's definitely right about it. He's gifted when it comes to the energy.
What I want to ask, Jacy, we were talking off camera before. You talk about rock bottom. Like, you see that happen so often with people, and it can be so minute, the problem. Like, it's not even a problem. But you're actually there in real life, right? And that was a while back. What happened in those moments?
Oh, man. Well, I had many bottoms.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that what happens is you begin to recognize when the bottom's coming. You know, and that's okay. You're like, oh, it's coming, it's coming. And you begin to prepare yourself. Because you know that this bottom, you gotta trust this bottom. It's for a reason that God is delivering you and putting you to the bottom. And it's fine. I think what happens is we get to the bottom, we're like, damn it, why me? It's like, why not me? And when I say that, I mean that. Like, I've been, you know, I was on suicide watch for 6 months. You know, when I finished my football career, because I didn't know who I was. You know, so like I've been in places mentally and physically and spiritually where I never thought I'd go there. But being there and existing in those spaces, I've found so much compassion and gratitude and empathy for humanity. So now, like, I just lost my brother 2.5, 3 months ago. And that's been a big thing for me. I've been grieving every day. But what keeps me going and what wakes me up every single day is knowing that someone else out there needs this message. Someone else out there is going through the same thing. 100%. You know, and so I think what happens is we often get to these spaces where we want to go inside and keep these messages and keep this energy and all this gorgeous shit to ourselves. It's like, no, that's not for you. That's for those around you. And so I think what I've found in the midst of tragedy and grief is that you really have to recognize that you exist in the community. In a human community of beautiful people. And either they can be rich, poor, black, white, tall, short, fat, skinny, it does not matter. They exist because you exist. And so it's like, you have to be in the same amount of love for yourself as you do for another man. So for me, it's like, when I saw you and I heard you, I was like, oh, that's love right there.
Yeah.
I was like, this is this is just love.
Different.
You know, and I love finding those moments because, well, they're not that rare.
Yeah.
I think it's more so, I think we have to be tuned in.
Tuned in.
And we have to know and understand that everyone around us is a mirror. So when I saw you, you mirrored everything that I was going through. And the same vice versa. So it's just, yeah, your bottoms are great. You got to trust them. They're there for a reason. There's not an accident of why we are here. It's not an accident of why this is happening.
Yeah.
You know, so I think what happens, we got to start digging for more purpose behind the words we use, behind the way we, exchange energy, and also just the way we live our lives. You know, for me, I love living life every day because I know 151,908 people every morning in America, every morning. Actually, no, I think it's across the world. Every day, do not wake up. Wow. So when I wake up tomorrow, God willing, there's a lot of people who don't wake up, and a lot of them don't have a reason or a choice for. They just war, poverty, certain, it's such difference in the world when it comes to that. So for me, I'm just in recognition of the fact that I'm alive every day. And I want to choose that feeling, like I'm alive. It's so beautiful.
That's unbelievable, right? Because when I met you, like just a couple of hours ago, you just had this smile that's infectious, right? And it's like, how could you not smile? But Max was there too, so I've got to give him there's my wife. Love you, Mum. Wife. So, when I seen that, and then we started talking, we just got right into it, right? When you talk about the rock bottom, a lot of people don't like to talk about tragedy in their life. We talked about it immediately, right? What were those moments for you like when your brother was gone?
Well, I'll give you the whole story. So I was in Utah. I was at my friend's basement, and I had just actually, Red Bull had just shouted me out on their IG. So I was excited. I woke up like, yes, I got followers, I was in that phase of my mind. I was like, oh yes, I got on IG, like, this is amazing. And my mother called me, and I ignored the call because I was in my IG phase. I was like, commenting back, read my stories, just in that world. Then my dad reached out, ignored it. So then someone on Facebook, who's not even, I don't even know who she is, she said, hey, you gotta call home your parents immediately. Wow. And I was like, okay. So I FaceTimed them. And my mom got on the phone first, and then she just handed the phone off to my dad, and then my dad handed the phone off to my brother. So I was just confused. I was like, what the hell is going on? Can someone tell me something, because I don't feel right. And then they told me, like with a very somber mood and a very like, it was like my whole world just crashed. And so I didn't know what to do in that moment. I've never had or lost someone close to me. And so the first initial reaction was I just threw my phone down, broke my phone, which I still am keeping because it's a reminder. Threw my phone down, and then I just went off in my friend's basement, yelling, screaming, because I didn't even know why or how his death had happened, but I just knew that I hadn't spoken to him in 7 months prior. And so it was like I had lost that connection to my brother, someone who I recognized as someone that really helped me in many areas of my life and was a father figure to me growing up, in many ways, just was there, and you never can really come to terms with losing someone. I think it's an everyday battle. It's something that I go through every day. I keep his picture with me, and I think talking about it is what helps heal. I think often we get into the grief moments and like we just like, oh no, this is mine, and I'm gonna go and like grief is an individual journey, we're told, and so let me go and be individual with my grief. It's like, no, everything is meant to be shared. Our happiness and our defeats, and our it's all meant to be shared. And so for me, I found the most clarity in my brother's death.
It's funny you say that, man, because those moments there, I had the same moment yesterday. I was that rock bottom, and I was just thinking about him, and they're talking to me before the podcast, and I said, keep talking, because I'm starting to feel better. Keep talking, because I'm starting to feel better. Then I got on the podcast, and I felt that again, and I said, keep going, because you're feeling better. You're back again. You're back, and it was that rock. I hit that rock bottom before it, and I spoke to Jules first, and I spoke to them before I got in camera, And I said, this is what it's about. Don't isolate yourself and think you're alone, because you're not alone, because there's someone to help you and lift you. And I kept going, and then you guys came, and then I was lifted again. And it's again now. And we need those lifts. We need that connection. And a lot of the times we isolate ourselves and we think people don't care about how we feel. But then in those moments, we find the happiness, because then you started smiling and I started smiling more. And then I said to my team, we've got to smile more. So those moments happen because you're living on purpose, you're going for it. And even though you're rock bottom, something comes because the purpose doesn't change. You may see a bit of fog, the clarity may go, but you had clarity, so you go back to the clarity even when you're bottom. And that's so important. That moment, how much has that given you the momentum to help more people?
I mean, I think my brother was all about service to his community in many ways, which I didn't know about until I was given a eulogy, and I was, we would call people up to say words of, encouragement or whatever about my brother, and all of his coworkers got up there, and there's things they were saying, I was like, my brother? And it was so beautiful, because I think what happens is we always have this container of how we see things and people and this perspective that's ours. And we forget that, like, to a stranger, we're beautiful. Often I look in the mirror, I'm like, God damn it. But to other people who don't know me, I'm a gorgeous being. And so what happens is I think that's a shared experience. Like, we need to start fostering more of commonalities that we have, because they're already distant. We're human. You bleed like I bleed. You got ears, I got ears. You got eyes, I got eyes. You got nose, I got nose. And so finding those moments where we can come together and not fall apart, even if we are in the midst of tragedy, I think that's where I'm finding my most peace. Is like in telling my story, and also in believing in the words that are coming out. Because often we have this rehearsed way of using the language that we want to use, and it's like, nah, man, like, I want people to recognize that I'm in pain. And it's okay. Because I'm still gonna smile. I'm still gonna laugh. I'm still gonna sweat. I'm still gonna do the same things I did before. I just recognize now that it's coming from a different place. And that's the beauty. It's like now it's like coming from a real place. Whereas before it was just me trying to project anything I wanted to. Now it's like, no, this is not, this is on purpose. Like you said, living on purpose. And like, that's where I'm finding the fruit. It's like, I'm just out here and just being myself. And that's been the hardest thing for most people, is becoming okay with who we are. We always try to change ourselves to fit into a pattern or a mode for someone else to accept. Like, fuck that. I want to be as authentic as I can be every single day, recognizing that if I'm authentic, hopefully I meet somebody else who's authentic. And we connect on that wavelength, and sparks fly. And like, that's where I think the tragedy has brought in my life, is recognizing when I see people who also have sparks.
What's funny, like we know Iz, right? And you know the connection we have with Iz, right? And so like, me and Iz obviously been talking a fair bit. And then Iz contacts you, but you've had that relationship with Clayton for a year. And then, how the stars align within that is absolutely amazing, where special things happen, right? And so life's not a popularity contest. Like, belonging to the popular group ain't gonna get you nowhere if that's not who you are, right? Max, and you live in LA, right? That's like, LA is an environment that's crazy, man, right? How do you find that you deal with environments that are not conducive to the person that you want to become?
That's a great question.
That is a great question.
Where do I start? Well, I meet a lot of people in LA that talk down about the town and the people in LA, but I never moved to LA to like try to fit in or look for a community, friends, family. I moved there for an idea of what my purpose was, and I pursued that. And when I ran into obstacles, which was career, people's moods, attitude, like people just not showing love, or just friction, obstacles between them or against myself, I just dealt with them like I would deal with them back home. I didn't have expectations of it being like something, but I don't make assumptions, basically. So I'm in a space mindset where I'm trying to learn, and I'm not afraid to get hit. I'm not afraid to fail, because failing and getting hurt is a lesson. Like if somebody strikes you and they do catch you, you learn, and so next time you maneuver, you can counter. I'm not just talking about fighting, I'm just talking life in general. So like LA, it's like, in my opinion, it's like a spiritual, creative, different type of combat zone. And like if you're going over there like make friends, that's fine, but that's not, from my knowledge, research, and experience, it's not somewhere you like, I'm gonna leave Florida or Utah, I'm gonna leave Australia to go over there and make friends. If that's your purpose, it's probably not the best time to go do it. Yeah. But LA has a lot to offer me. I learned a lot about creativity, networking, marketing over there. It serves its purpose. So I don't get too comfortable over there. I just remain a student. You know, absorb, and find my place. With that being said, I find my place, but as I get stronger, I can go into environments that, like you said, are not conducive or that are not good for your health and be an influence. But you just have to be strong enough to be. So you're either going to influence the environment, or the environment's going to influence you.
Don't you honestly think that you've got to love yourself? Like loving yourself is trusting yourself and your instincts, right?
Yeah.
And then when you love yourself, you know that you're going to find the right people in your life, right? You're going to find the right, and you don't have to force it. You know, we talked about flow. There's no forcing now. You're loving yourself, and you're flowing now with energy, and then you get to meet people, right? Then you get to meet people. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think that it's one of the most beautiful elements of life is water. You know, I think we come from water. You know, so we have this natural effervescence with just life that we often cut off because we forget that. Like when I'm dehydrated, I fall out of flow. Very simple. I don't have the water in me to keep on flowing. You know, and so I think, you know, there are three things that I try to do, you know, every day if I can. Now most of my kids.
I like this.
But you know, I try to cry. I try to swim in the ocean, and I sweat.
Wow.
If I do 2 to 3, great. If I do 1, great. But those are 3 things that I live by because they're just reminders of flow. You know, like crying is a natural flow.
Sweat.
You can't sweat, natural flow. You know, ocean, natural flow.
I like that.
You know, and so I recognize that flow is a part of who we are. We were born in the flow. And what happens is we've just forgotten it. Over time, over the conditioning process of life and societies that we come from, over the world and what's going on and all the tragedies in this, we lose sight of flow. But we gotta recognize that flow is within. And so like, if I'm having that internal flow, that energy that's just pervading out, trust me.
Let me ask you a question.
Everybody.
You talked about the tears, which I like, but I wanna bring a bit of context into this. You got people that cry and they go in their shell, but you're crying for empathy, compassion, and love. That's a difference, though, isn't it? And so, you know, when people, you go to people, you should cry, but you cry for a purpose, though.
Well, it's a release.
You know what I mean? It's a release, 100%.
You know, I think how many narratives of stories are held within our bodies and also within our minds and also within our spirit. You know, I got stories from when I was 4 years old that I can still remember. You know, about my dad and what he did. You know, so it's like I think what happens is we just compound stories on top of stories on top of stories, and we just forget who the fuck we really are. We're not these stories. We're way, way bigger. You know, I think these stories are what limits our scope of seeing us in a different way. For me, I've thrown the stories to the side. Like I was telling you, tomorrow, don't know about it. Yesterday, it's gone to history. Today's right here. This is happening right now. And I think we don't even recognize this. It's like, oh, this is a moment, it'll pass. Like, no, this is important. And I want us to recognize every day that we are given a breath is an important day. There's no day that's unimportant. Like, oh, today was, no. Like I was telling you, make today the best day ever. It has to be that way. When I was on tour, went on tour with Mike Posner for like a year. And his tour manager, Robert Dugan, every day, I don't care if he was down, if the band was down, if we were all down, he said every day he came on the bus, best day ever. And he yelled it. And it would piss us off. We'd be like, come on, bro.
That's funny.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. But over time, he keeps saying, you're like, Fuck yeah, the best day ever. And so you feel it.
Yeah.
Like you said, man, it's infectious, man. Good energy is infectious. And I refuse to ever be anything but. And so that's just a choice I wake up with every day. It's like, do I choose to be, you know, this or that? And I'm choosing to see things differently because that's how God wants me to see things, man. I wasn't given these eyes and this spirit for just no reason. There's a purpose, you know. So like you were saying, living life on purpose. I like that, man.
Living life on purpose.
I love that.
Making the right choices.
Yeah.
Having the right circle and the right environment that's gonna put the flame to your life, right? And so people go, okay, these guys seem to have a bit of experience. Well, how is someone gonna feel that? How are they gonna become that when they see that rock bottom, but they don't have the resources to get out of it? What do?
Well, for one thing, resources are from within.
Yeah.
You know, I think what happens is we forget who we are, like I said. And we're all God's children, we're all divine creatures, we're all magical, we're all unicorns, we're all Teletubbies, like we're all these things. And we forget it, and we're like, oh, I'm just this. No, you're not just that, you're everything. You're the whole conglomerate, you're every piece of the pie. And so, you know, I feel like that's where I've created more of an awareness of like, you know, rock bottom is different for everyone. You know, my rock bottom was losing my brother. Someone's rock bottom maybe they're just broke and they don't know how to get out of that. But once again, that's an internal resource that we always have, which is that God divine flow within us. We just have to recognize to turn it on. It's there. It wants to be. We want to be on fire every day. You think God gives us a breath just for us to just mope around? No. That's why 151,000 people don't make it every day. If we wake up tomorrow, you better bet it's on purpose. And we need to recognize that, and so we need to live as big as we can. And that's my mission, man.
Don't you think? So, being in a state where you're feeling sorry for yourself is almost the comfort zone. Okay? For that individual, for whoever it is. So then get around those people that are going to be uncomfortable. Like, you know, that guy said, it's a great day today. You know what I mean? Get around that. It's going to be uncomfortable. But get around those people that are going to push you to feel a certain way. And then if you do that and then develop yourself by reading, whether it's podcasts, whatever, then try and get around those people and work hard towards that. Do you think that can be a big game changer for anyone? Because everything's within us. But we lose trust within ourselves.
Oh yeah, definitely. We lose. Talk about that in the Uber ride. You know, I think, like I was saying, you know, surround yourself with people who fan your flame. You know, keep you ignited about living. And I often have moments where I'm down. We all do. It's natural. It's a part of life.
Because people wouldn't see that, right? Because when you see him, you wouldn't think he's down, would you? Would you think he's down? I wouldn't think you're ever down either.
We are.
But you know what I mean? Like people get but people that don't know us, oh mate, you got to work together. I've got nothing together, man. I've got nothing together. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I think, you know, you know, I've suffered through depression in my life. You know,
you said you
went through therapy, suicide, all that kind of stuff. You know, and I think mental health is a big part of what we don't talk about in the fitness industry.
And we should.
You know, which we need to address more of. Is that, you know, I think people come here for a reason. There's a reason why we work out. It's not just that we wake up like, oh, time to do it. No, there's a purpose. There's an intention that we set for our bodies and also for how we want to feel about our bodies. For me, the goal is to really just feel energetic. You know, like I never want to get stagnant. You know, because I know what it feels like when I'm stagnant. I'm not healthy. I don't feel vital. And I know it's hard sometimes for myself to get out of those spaces. But what draws me out, I'm telling you, and this is it's recognizing that like there's someone out there going through something much worse than I am that needs my voice, that needs me to stand through my pain and to not allow my pain to debilitate me, to stand through it, speak my truth, and to keep going. And that's, for me, that's being a man for others. And it's just service. Like, I'm a servant. And I will see myself as nothing else. I'm a servant of whatever God wants me to do. Right now, He wants me to be here in Australia on this podcast. And I'm serving. And I want to always be in that space of serving because That's why we're all connected. That's why we're all here. We're servants of each other.
Yeah.
You know, and we forget that. We just want to be servants of ourselves. No. You are given a breath to serve others.
Yeah.
And that's why we're alive.
And that's one thing people got to understand as well, right? Because this person that serves will still get hurt. But what's their purpose? Like, don't forget what your purpose is, right? Because it's going to happen. It's inevitable. You talked about rock bottom. You know how to get back up. You've got the rituals that you need. And you're disciplined to those rituals. You're committed to that because you know that helps you every single day, right? How important is that?
You know, like I said, I make sure I spend every morning in gratitude. It could be a prayer, it could be a meditation, or it could be me writing down something in my journal, maybe 5 things, maybe 10 things. Just choosing to feel that, because I think gratitude is an access point to joy. You know, if you're not grateful, then why are you even, you know, what are you doing? You know, and you just want to take everything. And so I want to be more, as you said, more of in service to life, more of in service to people around me. So I always want to be in gratitude to the simple fact that I'm alive and that God gave me feet. Because there's so many people out there that we forget that don't look like us, that don't have what we have, that don't have this podcast going on, that aren't in Australia, that aren't doing these things. And so I think we always need to recognize that we're blessed every day. And that's the gratitude that I start off with. And then, as I told you, I embody that by getting on the ground and moving around. It doesn't have to be a certain regimen. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and no. It's, for me, it's like finding that flow in my body that feels nice. It might be 45 push-ups. It might be rolling around like a child in the fetal position. I don't know. It's whatever I feel. And you know, I used to do The Artist's Way, which is this book by Julian Cameron, which pretty much is for writers and, you know, producers and directors, just get them out of the blockages of their creativity. And we all have blockages of our creativity. We're all creative. And I feel like often we think that, like, oh no, they're creative. Those are called creatives. No. That creative potential is in all of us. And it's unlocked when we see it in others. But we got to know that it's in us too. We can't just look at them and be like, oh, he's so creative. You are too. And that's what I try to remind people through movement. Is like, yo, find your flow in the morning. Create your movement in the morning. You know, and like, that's, to me, that's been my way of dealing with grief. I don't wake up and just start, you know, getting angry about what's happened. I wake up and I'm glad that I'm alive, and I'm glad that I have a breath, and I try to make that the most important part of my day. Is that morning ritual, that gratitude practice. I'm telling you, it's helped, and it's such a small thing. People are like, oh, every day. I'm like, yeah, dude, I write down 5 things. Sometimes they're the same thing. You know, but it's more so just putting myself in that space of being thankful for the life that I have. Being thankful for the little things that I have. Because then the big things just come. 100%. And it just fall on you. You're like, huh, where the hell did this come from? And it's because you've been sitting and standing in a space of receiving. And that's pretty much where I'm at now.
You know, it's amazing. You know, when you're doing a podcast, it's so cool. It's so cool because you're learning, man. You know, and you know, it made me start thinking, because, you know, I've known Max for a few years now, and you know, you look incredible, and I've always told you that. But there's so much behind the man and the body, right? How do you think you've progressed in the last 3 years as a person moving towards a purpose? You know, you're doing your creative stuff with your video, your movies and all that kind of stuff. Like, how is the Max from 3 years ago different to the Max now?
It's like night and day, because my eyes are open, and when you think they're open and like you give yourself another 1-2 years, you're like, well, I guess there's levels to this. So you stay humble and just remember where you were at 3-5 years ago, how much you were aware of and how you were maneuvering, and I remain a student, so it doesn't matter how good I become at things, thoughts, body, physics. I just know that I'm not God, so I'm a student, I'm a child of God, trying to follow His lead. So I'm not sure what the potential is, I just know that it's not this. So yeah, I'm very happy with where I'm going, where I've been, but I'm like, what's next? And what is it that I'm doing or not doing that's like holding me become the next level. So it's been major changes the last 3 years. I never thought I'd be producing films, but I'm confident enough to like produce a short film, work towards a feature film, and pitch it like studio execs. And what for me, what's mostly rewarding about that is what I can do for the film. The potential, how many people I can reach, influence, versus just being able to produce a film. Like a lot of people in LA, not to talk down, but I just feel like it's like a dead end or short-term goal to just try to achieve the goal, but like they don't really have a purpose for it. So
it's like a dead end.
Yeah, so they might achieve the goal, but then it's like, now what? Then there's no more growing. There's just either they're stagnant or they start to go back down. So I just feel like unless I'm like paralyzed in some type of way where I can't learn anymore, I'm a student. That's it. That's
what I love. That's what I love about it.
That's what I love about him too.
Because look, essentially that's all we are, right? Because we're students right here learning from one another right now, right? Yeah. And so when you look at that student and then you look at, potential is limitless, right? And you try and explain that to people. Like I remember my first podcast, like when I was a terrible gymmer and I was terrible at everything. I wasn't even I wasn't the best father, I wasn't the best husband, I wasn't the best son. Right? When you look at all that and you go, well, how did you get better? There was some sort of flame and there was some sort of trust within all of us to go, just find one thing, just find something that's incremental. How important do you think incremental steps are, instead of looking at the macro of what you were going for something and you hit this roadblock and now you're devastated? How important is incremental changes to become the person you want to become?
Oh man, I mean, how important are reps in the gym? It's like, I think that to break things down into the format that it needs to be processed in is the way that I live my life. I'm like, I never want to skip ahead because I don't know what ahead is. I only know right now.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
I really don't even know yesterday.
Yeah.
That's still a blur.
Yeah.
So I think, like I was saying before, like focusing our energy and attuning into the present moment and what we can grab from that, because it's always hanging fruit in every moment.
Yeah.
It's like what we can grab from that and what we can use. I think that's what I've found as a tool for counting up those steps. It's just like not even looking forward to the next steps. Just being like, hey, these steps I'm taking right now today are amazing. And these amazing steps today will lead to some amazing steps tomorrow. And okay, Friday might come around, it might be not amazing steps, but it's okay. Because for me, I know that the momentum of life, it changes and it shifts. That's why I'm always finding my flow. And my flow could be, like I said, up, down, left, or right, but I'm going to find my flow. It's like water. You put a water around anything, it will find itself again. It'll find its flow. And so for me, I make time out of every day to be near water. And like it's just very important for me.
The biggest thing is, like what I've noticed with both of you guys are very optimistic now, but you understand that the bottom is still optimistic, right?
Yeah.
It's still cool. Nothing changes. I'm the same man. I'm the same person as I was here as I am here. And I'm going to make the necessary adjustments and changes that I need to make to flow in the rest of the day. You guys are extremely fit, right?
Thank you.
And obviously, you guys combine the training, the nutrition, and the mindset. If you lose one out of those three, would that affect you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling you, like when I don't work out, I'm a shitty person. I'm gonna just be real with you. I'm angry. Yeah. I'm short with people. I say the wrong things.
You?
Yeah.
Who would pick it?
Like when I don't work out,
I'm gonna make sure he doesn't train during the next few days. I want to see that side.
And then, it's man. I guess you're right. Those three have to be done.
Done. Yeah.
It just the nutrition part has to be done. So I might slip on that every now and then.
Yeah.
just to enjoy something that I might not always enjoy. But for me, it's always a reminder of balance in life, of the dynamic flow that we can create when we do take the highs and the lows and bring them into fruition. You know, so for me, it's like I got to do those three, and I'm sure he does too.
Oh,
I'm sure all of us in here. You know, it's like we can't. I can't not work out.
Yeah,
I feel so like I don't know, man. And I think for me, it's like it's sacred. You know, like when I move, it's a dedication. I'm like, God, thank you. His body's still working, and I want to do everything I can to keep it ticking. Because my dad got a new hip, what, 6-7 months ago? He was a trainer. You know, so seeing my dad just dragging around, it's like, man, that's hard. That's hard to see. And so for me, I don't want to take a day off. I want to keep some of them going. Because like I said, I don't know what tomorrow may bring. So I want to make sure today is done in the right way.
You don't want to lose any moment that you can create a feeling. Right? You don't want to lose a moment where you can create a feeling. And that's what I'm getting from him. Like that just came from you. You're talking and I'm going, like, I'm feeling that, right? Max, everyone thinks you look good all the time.
He does, I mean.
But man, I just see you work hard, man. Every time I've seen you, you don't miss a workout. You work hard.
I miss workouts once in a blue moon.
Well, okay, 365 days a year. How many days would you miss in 365 days?
Generally, I take 2 days off a week because, like,
he goes hard.
I burn a lot of calories. I'm a marketer, so if I'm not taking any time off, I'll end up
burning out.
defeating the purpose of gains. So on average, two days.
2 days a week. And when what do you? Okay, let me ask you this question, right? Like people look at you, EHP Labs, Fit. What do you guys do outside of that then? You do the movies, obviously, but what else? Do you go to the movies? Do you do skydiving? What else do you do?
I'm very active mentally and spiritually. That's what drives the.
Same.
That's what drives the physical aspect. Like I was mental before fitness. Like I didn't know I was. Like so I came from like soccer, basketball, and I didn't know like the way my mindset was influencing my performance. I didn't know that. And then with fitness, I pretty much feedback from people that were getting the gains and people that were like having issues with getting results helped me become aware that it is a mindset and that their mindset needed to change. And that's why, because people, like when I first started exercising and seeing results, people were saying, hey, we're seeing results on you pretty fast, what are you doing? I'm like, taking action, plan in action. It was simple to me, but I learned from feedback that it's not that simple for everybody when it comes to certain activities. You know, for some people, they're, you know, in the science lab, they're killing it, but when it comes to their health, they're kind of like slacking on there. They need help with the mindset there. So I learned from like this, you know, being of service, connecting with people, listening to feedback, and not just saying, well, it's my time, my body, leave me alone. Because when I first got started, that was the mentality. I was like, I want to get results, I'm going to work for it, and that's it. And people were like, how? I was like, here's a book, read it, and do what I did. But it's nothing simple. So yeah, like I feed my mind and my spirit, and they all have to be fed. The body, we have to work them, and or else you get depressed. It's like you use it or lose it. So if you're not, you know, if your wheels are not turning here, you're gonna get sick. To simplify it in one way, shape, or form. Same with your spirit. Same with your physical. And becoming aware of that, it makes me find ways to. Because like, if you don't do it, it's kind of like your mind, your spirit, and your body will find a way to like work itself, and it might not be in a healthy way. So you have to master yourself, or your body, mind, and spirit will try to master you. It'll try to like find ways to be active.
100%.
So you know what? I'm a very visual guy, so I watch content. It could be art, doesn't have this film, music, sound as well, because like sound is a very creative tool. So anything that pretty much stimulates mindset, you know, you can influence mindset and the way somebody thinks and their actions through art. And art is one of the most powerful tools to influence because it connects to people's senses. Like it evokes emotion basically. And unfortunately, it gets used most of the time to hurt people, to dumb down people. But
music.
Oh yeah,
music. Yeah.
Music,
film,
words are very powerful, and so if you're speaking, you can make negativity look and sound very good, and the industry has been very effective with that.
God, they've been great.
So yeah, I educate myself and entertain myself just so I sharpen up my ears, my eyes, my mind. That way I can decipher what is it I should be ingesting myself and also putting out when I create or share content.
You know what I love? You know, I'm just thinking. Like I'm just thinking right now. I'm going, like, how fucking good is the HP Labs? Like, look at both. Like, if you think about the fitness industry, there's not many people that go that deep.
That's very
right. Like honestly, like I'm telling you now, that I've been around it forever, over 20 years, right? And to hear you guys talk is so refreshing because you understand. Like I know as well, you guys know as well, right? When you know the man behind the brand and then the people now representing, you see this new age of EHP Labs. Like when people think that's it for EHP. You go, no, well, man, look what's about to happen. Like I can feel that, and you look at where Iz's mindset's moving towards. You know what I mean? And he's connecting with you. You almost go, well, this is a game changer, man. Like this is a game changer. Do you guys feel fortunate? Because obviously, if I don't know Iz, we're not even here talking, right? Like that's the truth, right?
Yeah.
We're not even here. You know what I mean? Right. So if you have a look at the evolution of the brand, and you've been there from the start, man. Like what does that mean to you? Like I'm just talking from the heart, man, because I know what he's like. You know what I mean?
From the very beginning, like our first conversation was about people, and like I said, like you know, I was in a certain place when I first got started. You know, whatever gifts I had, advantages, feedback helped me become aware that it wasn't just selfish gains, and being aware of like what people want and need and how I could be of service made me better. And so that was his mindset from the beginning, and that's always going to inspire and innovate, change, growth. Because say you have somebody, EHP Lab today cannot be the same EHP Labs 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because like as people age, like 5 years, somebody becomes 5 to 10 years old, 15, they're innovators. They're going to influence us, and then we're going to listen. If they're positively influencing us, we're innovating before they see our website, before they see our product. We have to listen to them because it is about them. It has to be about them first. And so that was our first conversation. It was about innovating and being of service to the people. Because if it's not about service to the people, first and foremost, then I'm not passionate about it. That I'll lose passion, and it's a dead end because I've never been highly passionate or motivated by things or money. I know some people are. And I was just, it's not in me. I thank God for that because it'll get you in trouble. Like things and money, it comes with the territory, and you can, as you know, you can have it and be depressed and unhappy, and then you make the people around
the people that
see that a lot.
you know.
So I just love the fact that he was genuinely trying to innovate, not just for the purpose of innovating, because that could be a dead end as well. Like, what happens once you innovate? How do you keep innovating? The people have to inspire innovation based on their needs and wants. Because like children right now, they're trying to finger swipe the iMac, which like, I don't think it has that capability yet. But somebody's gonna have to innovate that, or lose competition.
That's right. That's right.
So that keeps us on our toes.
But there's also an evolution with the type of people he's bringing on as well, right?
Yeah, I'm
evolution.
Yeah, but like more people like him.
Exactly.
Because like
but there's an evolution, right?
Yeah,
It's
always.
changing that. People want a deeper connection.
Like 5 years of EHP and like dealing with athletes, he's learned a lot about
100%.
what type of athletes do I want to represent in EHP Labs.
Yeah.
Like in the conversation, like, is this person for himself or is he for a team, a community? You know, like you can pick up some of that in the conversation. I mean, unfortunately, a lot of our athletes don't know better. They're, I guess, ignorant when it comes to like team building and community and stuff. But I don't blame it on them. It's like the industry from the top is not the best leadership at times. It can be very selfish, and so when you're building up a brand, an individual brand, an athlete, like, or you're helping them or showing them how to do it, you have to. It has to be in a humble way. But the entertainment industry, for example, they build the brand, but then they look down at the people that helped them get there. So like the athletes are pretty much just doing what they think is gonna get them up there and stay up there. But YouTubers been killing it because they grow and they stay humble. They understand the community is very important. And that's the makeup of your brand. That's your supporters. But more and more athletes are starting to get that now, but a lot of them still don't. They're like, hey,
there's gonna be an evolution.
There's
gonna be an evolution within that. People are gonna be able to see that I can't feel that anymore. You're just showing me something. I need to feel. I want to feel what's behind you.
I mean, it's like our first conversation. I think I mentioned Hieronymus Bosch. It's one of my favorite paintings when I took art history class in like what 8th grade, and I loved it. I was like, this is what I want to do with my life. I want to be an art historian. This is beautiful. And we were talking about Hieronymus Bosch's triptych painting, The Garden of Earthly Delights. And now mind you, triptych painting is 3 panels. So it's 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel. You got to kind of see it across. And so the first time Mr. Wright showed us the painting, he only showed us 2 panels. And I was like, what is this? And then the third one came in, and you finally saw it. And so I think what is the scene is now like, yo, I've had these 2 panels here. I've had athletes and product. Okay, and it's been great. We've done well. But now I want to bring in a third. I want to bring in a third panel to really seal the deal, which is just a voice that can actually articulate the messages that I want to put out there into the world. So when we spoke, that's all he was like, listen, you can articulate what I really want to do, but I don't want to be the guy to do it. I don't need to be the guy. I'm behind the scenes. I'm working. I need you to push that out there, push that gorgeous energy, because you have it. And EHP is really a beautiful brand if you see it from that perspective. He called me a year ago to talk about spirituality, and I talk about what I could add value to the brand. It was just a conversation. There was nothing like, okay, well, yeah, well, there was no next step. It was just like, yo, that was amazing, and we'll just keep talking. And a year later, I'm sitting in a chair in Titan Fitness in Coogee, Australia, in Sydney, and I'm loving this. And it's like, you know, what happens often is that we have these blockages, we have these moments in life where we don't feel like we are moving in the right direction. We get a little stagnant, like I was saying. But you can't stay there. Like I was saying, sometimes people turn weeks into a month, and a month into a year. You can't stay in these Z zones, no. So instead, I'm sitting here now, like, wow, just really enamored with the experience of being in a new place, but also with how it came to be. And that's me, once again, trusting the body. Trusting the moments that I'm like, oh, I don't know what could happen good. And then the next thing you know, I get a phone call from Clayton. It's like, yo, would you like to come to Australia? And I'm like, sure, man, yes. You know, come on. And so, and I had an event planned this week. I was like, event, bye. Tulum, I'll see Tulum at some point in time. Mexico, I'll see you. I'm doing this because this feels right. It aligns with who I am and aligns with what I'm about. I'm about helping people see the good in life, the good in themselves. And I think that's what EHP has the potential of doing, is helping the industry of fitness industry, see a different side of what fitness can, because like fitness is not just this one thing. It's a whole, as we're discussing, this is a fitness conversation. It's everything from the top down, you know? So it's basically from the crown of our head to the toes of our feet. That's, you know, everything that encompasses this body, we got to take into account. So I think that's what is seen, and he's always seen it that way from what I've shared with him, and also what Clayton has shared with me. They've always seen it that way. I think they've finally took a leap of faith and made an investment in something that's very new. And so for me, I'm blessed to have been, you know, that leap of faith, you know, and for them to trust me with, you know, emceeing the event and being that voice and being that energy. It's a big thing for someone that they'd never met before and had one phone conversation with. So for me, I'm just trusting every step of the way, knowing that it's leading to the next one and the next one. And then, you know, maybe a day where it's not, but it'll lead to the next one. You know, like nothing at this point in my life will get me down. And if it does, I'm jumping right the fuck back up.
That's wow.
You know?
Huh? That's a wow moment. I don't think we can get it better than that. Like he just summed everything up right there about the HP Labs, about this whole conversation. This conversation almost feels surreal to me because this is how it happened, why it happened. There's purpose behind this. People needed to hear this. This is fitness. It's the dimensions of fitness. It's not one dimensional. It's many dimensions. Guys, we've run out of time. We've run out of time. You couldn't have summed it up better. You know I loved you. I've loved you for a long time. I love you as well because I feel like I've known you forever. But guys, Titan Muscle and Mind, two amazing athletes, amazing brand, amazing people. These guys, honestly, they feel like brothers to me. Thanks again. And I think I'm going to go out on a high note. I'm never coming back. See you guys later. Till next time.
Guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Titan
Muscle and Mind, baby. Muscle and Mind. I love it.
Thanks. Thanks, boys.
Man, thank you.